Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Sunday Stock Watch, series I post on Sundays where I let you guys know what stocks I'm personally keeping an eye on going into the trading week. You guys, I pretty much have tunnel vision on the cryptocurrency sector right now. Bitcoin crushed it over the weekend, and I could not be more excited to see how some of our favorite Bitcoin, blockchain, crypto-related stock plays pan out over the course of this trading week. As many of you know, I've been very bullish on the crypto sector for a very long time, but I can say that I don't think I've ever been more confident in the strength and the momentum of the sector than I am right now. So very exciting, potentially very lucrative, a time to be involved with the space if you know where to look. So let's get into this. As always, we'll quickly go over each topic we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, you guys know the drill. Trading View, where we will talk technicals, price action, and price targets on the following names today, in this order, going down the watch list. Kicking it off with the king, because ultimately Bitcoin's price action will dictate general direction, at least, of the majority of the stocks we're going to be talking about today. So kick it off with Bitcoin. We will then move into our favorite Bitcoin miners, Riot Blockchain, Marathon Patent Group. Then actually between covering Riot and Mara on the charts, I do want to show you guys this chart that was actually shared to me in the Waves Discord group. So shout out to you if you shared this, but this is a very cool chart talking about public companies with largest Bitcoin holdings. So these are companies with Bitcoin on their balance sheet, with Bitcoin treasuries. And this is very important, especially considering Bitcoin is seeing a lot of price appreciation when trying to dictate fair value and liquid within these companies, specifically Riot and Mara, because these are the two on this chart. And this is just another reason, if you guys have been watching my previous videos talking about how I do believe that Mara will ultimately catch up with Riot to an extent, and that's why I'm currently more bullish on Mara than Riot. And this just backs that up further, because Marathon Patent Group, we will dive into this a little more, has 4,800 BTC, and Riot Blockchain has only 1,100 BTC as of February 9th. Okay, so this is very important, again, when trying to dictate fair value, when dictating liquidity, especially in such a promising asset like Bitcoin. Okay, so we will pull this up, look at this quickly once again, go over a few other names here, because honestly, these are all stocks to watch if Bitcoin is appreciating in value. So we will talk about that a little more. Move on to Jinlei, XNET, very exciting blockchain play. That stock popped off on Friday, so very excited to dive into XNET. And then dive into my two favorite OTC over-the-counter stocks. CurrencyWorks, again, very exciting price action, closing out last week as well. And then ALYI, or alternate systems, and they're more of an EV. They're kind of an EV crypto stock play. Many of you know this if you've been watching the videos, but very exciting times. Again, I will say this right now because I get this question a lot still. Both CWRK, and alternate systems, AOYI, you see that D right there. That means that they're OTC stocks, or over-the-counter stocks. You can't buy these stocks on Robinhood, but I personally use TD Ameritrade. You can probably use E-Trade or whatever Schwab or whatever brokerage platform excuse me, you use to buy OTC stocks. There's many of them out there. I personally use TD Ameritrade though. Okay, so very excited to dive into some price action today, but as always, before we do get into it, I will ask you guys to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today, or if you're invested or trading any of the stocks we're going to be talking about. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here and want to catch more content like this, and of course, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link down in the description. If you want a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio, I do update that every single trading day during market hours, and with every update, I do send out a pretty comprehensive email newsletter explaining my thoughts, rationalizing my trades, letting you guys know what I'm getting into, what I'm getting out of, and why. Okay, so $15 a month, first link down in the description if you're interested. But as always, if not, no worries at all. Okay, let's get into these charts again. Kicking it off with Bitcoin, start on Riot, just get the moon there. Again, we're going past the moon right now. We're going straight to Mars. That's why the rocket ship's above the moon. But anyway, we'll get to that after Bitcoin. So the king is looking strong. Please load, please load. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. It keeps doing that. So Bitcoin, the king, of course, we are on the 4-hour. Look at this price action over the weekend. Just beautiful, just so solid. Seeing some decent volume here, and everything's just looking good. It is a little below its high that it set earlier this morning, but that's all right. I'm just seeing higher highs, higher lows here, like on this whole very, very organic, very promising move up from this Tesla news, from this initial news of Tesla picking up $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. This was this parabolic move up here. And since then, we've just seen steady gain because institutions, again, going back to this, so many public companies, large capital allocators are realizing the value of Bitcoin. And at this point, because Bitcoin is ultimately the most absolutely scarce asset on the planet, more and more companies are going to come around. They're going to understand that, and they're going to want some. And at that point, it's just a matter of just straight up supply and demand 101. Okay, so very exciting here. Bitcoin, as you guys know, if you guys have been watching my previous videos, I keep saying it. I'm not focused really on the day-to-day. Many of you know I don't trade Bitcoin because I don't trade Bitcoin. I do trade these, but I don't trade Bitcoin. Ultimately, my price target for Bitcoin is going to be about $80,000. That's what it's been for a long time. Say we hit it by the end of the month. Say we strike it this week, by the end of this week. I believe this is the last week of February, early month. That would take us to an $84,000 Bitcoin if we test the overall line of resistance, or if we test the line of resistance, I should say, on the overall uptrend. Again, it's all very dependent on when Bitcoin chooses to test this line of resistance. I'm confident it's going to happen sooner than later, and I'm just going to keep this quick because I do want to get into these stocks. So again, February 28th, if we hit it by the end of the month, $84,000 price target for Bitcoin. And of course, that is good news, not only for RIOT and Mara, but for the entire cryptocurrency sector as a whole. Okay, so that is Bitcoin. Let's move into RIOT. So RIOT blockchain, man, please load. I don't know why it's taking so long. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so RIOT blockchain, again, going past the moon, on its way to Mars, broke through all of my initial price targets, but actually on Thursday, I believe it did come down nicely to test this bottom side price target that I was talking about. I think on Thursday after it shot up, this is where I'd initially be open to buying more RIOT, following this huge parabolic move up. So it did come down almost perfectly, it got pretty close on two 4-hour candles actually to testing this line of resistance on the overall uptrend. It acted as previous resistance. Again, TA 101 right here, previous resistance will go on to act as a new support if you are in a bull market. Bounced off that, and it wouldn't surprise me at all to see RIOT just set new all-time highs. As I said in the beginning of the year, I wouldn't be surprised for both RIOT blockchain and Marathon Patent Group to see triple digits by the time Bitcoin reaches some of those highs, and maybe it happens by the end of the year. Maybe we see a slump over the summer or something, but ultimately I think by the end of 2021 we will see a 6-figure Bitcoin and a 3-figure RIOT and Mara. Okay, so short-term price target for RIOT and Mara. Of course, if Bitcoin is doing well, it would only make sense to me that RIOT would do well. But at the same time, I wouldn't be mad because I'm positioned for this. Always know, you guys, my money's on what I'm saying. This isn't advice. I'm just letting you guys kind of know what's going through my head, and hopefully it helps you in some way. But it would be interesting because, like we've seen for so long, we've been tracking RIOT blockchain and Marathon Patent Group for the past year almost. And over the course of from when they were in single digits, like when they were in the dollars, $2, $7, they've always managed to, at some points, RIOT always jumps ahead a little bit, but at some point they always manage to play catch up. So just that fact in itself, like Marathon did issue a little more shares, which skews it a little bit, but ultimately the gap there is very significant, which leads me to believe that Marathon will ultimately gain catch up. Say RIOT pulls back a little bit, I think a lot of that capital ultimately will flow into Marathon Patent Group, okay? So there's still so much hype around this sector. If it doesn't flow into Mara, maybe it flows into XNET, CWRK. There's so many promising plays within the crypto sector, but regardless of whether RIOT, Mara does good individually, any of these stocks do well individually, the sector as a whole is just looking so promising. So right now, I'm really just kind of deciding how I personally want to allocate capital within the sector. And right now, my biggest plays are Mara, XNET, and CWRK in this sector personally. Again, RIOT, I love RIOT. It was my #1 stock pick of 2020, 2021. Many of you know that. But right now, I think it is just a little skewed towards RIOT as opposed to Mara, because RIOT and Mara, once again, ultimately, two peas in a pod, do end up playing catch up, which makes me bullish on Mara. So if we see a move up in RIOT tomorrow, it only makes sense to me that we test the absolute top line of resistance on the overall uptrend just set by this new high we set on the 17th. So that would take us, say we hit it tomorrow, that would take us to about $85 per RIOT blockchain, okay, which is a very significant price increase. But again, it's been going parabolic. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. Let's move on to Marathon Patent Group, Mara. Again, before we get into this, actually, I'm just going to stop complaining about the slowness. Sorry, you guys. Before we get into this, let's take a look at this one more time, okay? So, public companies with largest Bitcoin holdings. Again, shout out to the Discord, man. This was so sick. I was trying to look for it too. I couldn't find it, but thank you to you if you posted it once again. MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy, obviously many of you have heard of them at this point. I think they're at about almost $1,000 a share. They need to do a stock split for real. That would be smart. $10 billion market cap, very great company. Talked about them a lot in the past, in an analysis video on them way back when. But MicroStrategy, obviously very exciting company. Michael Saylor, their CEO, is an absolute Bitcoin evangelist at this point, and I think they're working on a lot of cool like infrastructure behind like the Lightning Network for Bitcoin and stuff like that. So very exciting there. You can see by far they have the most Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and that over time, if you're investing in MicroStrategy at this point, you're pretty much investing in Bitcoin. So that's MicroStrategy. Of course, Tesla, they just bought 1.5 billion. Galaxy Digital, MassMutual, Marathon Patent Group has an impressive almost $5,000. $5,000. That would be not impressive. 5,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. while RIOT only has a quarter of that at 1,200. So this is very, very important, you guys. And this is a big catalyst that I do think will ultimately lead a lot of people to lean towards Marathon Patent Group as opposed to RIOT. RIOT's infrastructure as far as Bitcoin mining machines is a little more scaled out. They have a little more machines, but Marathon Patent Group is scaling really fast. They're ordering more and more miners. And especially as RIOT, again, when determining fair value, you have to look at market cap. So RIOT's market cap is currently at a little bit, I think RIOT's at like 5 billion, Marathon Patent Group's at 4 billion. So still pretty close, but ultimately I do think they will play catch up. And this fact in itself, as Bitcoin appreciates in value, it literally directly impacts the financials and the balance sheet of Marathon Patent Group, RIOT Blockchain, literally every name on this chart. Okay, so again, these are all still kind of stocks to watch. So this does fall on the stock watch. I'm personally only trading Marathon Patent Group and RIOT Blockchain. I do have stock and MicroStrategy that I've had forever, but aside from that, let's get back into this. Very cool though, very cool. If you guys want to screenshot this, I would recommend doing that because this is it's a well-made little graph too. Anyway, Marathon Patent Group, again, because Marathon Patent Group, like RIOT, hasn't even tested the top line of resistance on the overall uptrend. I just think it's so likely that at some point next week, Marathon Patent Group sees its time to shine, and we ultimately test the top line of resistance on the overall uptrend beginning December 22nd. That would take us to, if we hit it by February 25th, by Thursday, Friday, to about $68. So just conservatively, you guys, a $65 price target for Marathon Patent Group is my ultimate price target. That's where I'm comfortable starting to unload a little bit of my positions probably. But very exciting times. Again, you guys, it's all going to be flowing within the sector because there's so much excitement around the sector itself. It's all about where capital is going to be flowing throughout the sector. And I really do feel like going into this week, Marathon Patent Group is going to have its time in the sun. Okay, so that is right. Mara, Bitcoin miners, move on to a little blockchain tech. Junlei, again, having a great day, up as much as 30% on Friday. We love to see you guys. It felt so gratifying, and it just justified everything I've been thinking for so long. And it always feels good. Again, it feels good when your hard work literally pays off and financially pays off, like literally pays off, which is cool. Anyway, Junlei, it's pretty simple to here. I shouldn't say it's simple because we actually are in a technical breakout. We broke the long-term line of resistance. That was my initial price target for a long time. Since this point, since January 20th, pretty much I've been very confident that Junlei was ultimately going to test like the $8 region to test the line of resistance on the overall uptrend. Now that it's broken out, it is kind of in that blue sky territory. So my price target for Junlei, short term, if we see another pop up, is going to be about 1350. Okay, and the reason for that is if we go back to 2017, I'm not going to waste your time going back in the charts right now, but 2017, this is probably the single area that acted most as a straight up just line of resistance, support, resistance, ceiling, floor, whatever. It just spent so much time around the 1350 area, on its way up and down from its all-time high back in 2017 during the initial Bitcoin rally, not initial, but last Bitcoin rally, and its all-time high was $25. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if, considering RIOT and Mara are like way beyond their all-time highs at this point, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see XNET at least meet its all-time high because, again, the fundamentals around blockchain, all eyes are on blockchain cryptocurrency, and Junlei only has a market cap at this point of I think they have like a $3 billion market cap. I don't know why TradingView gets it wrong sometimes, but Junlei has like a $3 billion market cap, and still in the grand scheme of things, very small. Like all these stocks, you guys, take very little capital inflow to appreciate the individual share price, and especially if capital starts flowing out of other sectors like EVs, like especially silver and gold. A lot of money is fleeing out of silver and gold to more effective, more efficient safe haven assets like Bitcoin. That's a lot of capital. And it does not take much inflow to these stocks, to these companies to appreciate the individual share price. That's why you're seeing everything go parabolic, okay? So Junlei, short-term price target by next week. I think we could easily hit the 1350 region once again because it acted as such a significant line of resistance and support back in 2017, okay? But ultimately, by the time Bitcoin, if we do happen to hit 80K like I think we will, I think Junlei could easily hit $25, all right? Which is a cool 2.5x from where we're at now. Moving on, again, CurrencyWorks AOYI closed it out with a good old OTC. So CurrencyWorks perfectly tested the line of resistance on the overall uptrend. And this is probably the most textbook play, you guys. This is one of my favorite, like just such a clean play. Like I said, a textbook play. You can see this almost like the two-wave theory, which I had again. You see the first wave. For a lot of hype gets in here, a lot of volume, a lot of people have their eyes on this stock when you see this type of momentum and this type of price action, okay? So you get that, again, the bubble pops a little bit, you capitulate, you build strength, and this actually formed like a pretty beautiful bull flag right here. You can see a bit, again, a parabolic moved up, followed by a descending triangle. This is more of like the two-wave theory, I would say. But again, perfectly broke out of this bull flag as I was expecting, and did ultimately just earlier this week, I think Wednesday or Thursday, on the 17th. The 17th did come up to ultimately test the overall line of resistance on the long-term uptrend, similar to so many of these stocks we're looking at right now. Like, again, you guys, you're seeing common patterns. They're a little different, but for the most part, you're seeing that same pattern because it's all within the same sector, and it's very easy to dictate what's kind of going down here from a technical perspective, just on looking at the charts, okay? So it did come up here. It wouldn't surprise me at all, considering CWRK does have a market cap of only $75 million. That's the beauty of some of these OTC plays, you guys. These are tiny. So these take very, very little capital inflow. If like even RIOT, Mara, and XNET with a market cap of a few $1 billion are small in the grand scheme of the greater markets, but these CWRK and AOYI are so exciting because they're not even worth 100 million. They're not even in that digit realm. So it's very exciting here if enough hype builds around these very cool, what I believe are truly very cool companies. Again, you guys, with these, it's a lot more speculative. So please proceed with caution if you do. Always do your own research, you guys. Always please make your own decisions. I think they're cool. Just because I think they're cool doesn't mean I'm right. Okay, that goes for all of this, everything I'm saying. Just because I have found success in recent history doesn't mean I'm going to be right all the time. I've been wrong plenty of times. So that's very important to keep in mind, okay? But anyway, CWRK and AOYI CWRK, of course, does help companies tokenize, build tokens for their company, pretty much tokenize shares of their own companies, which as we move forward is going to be such a promising industry. And I'm very bullish on where CWRK can go from here, especially considering the market cap at this point is so small. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see CWRK break out of this overall line of resistance, go to maybe test it again, break through. If we see a 4-hour closure above, I'm just going to say 250 just to keep it super safe. If we see a 250 CWRK, that would make me believe that we're probably going to go parabolic because we're in a straight up short-term breakout. So very exciting there. Let's close it out with the Mars mission that is AOYI. So AOYI, again, perfect play. I talked about this in the correction video last week, but this is beautiful. And AOYI closed Friday up 40%. You guys, that was a lucrative play because for full transparency, I don't have any association with either of these companies, right? Literally any of these companies. But I'm very, very bullish, and I do have a significant position size in AOYI for full transparency. So Friday up 40% was a very, I mean, you'll love to see it. It always feels good to see that. So I can cheers to you guys if you were holding AOYI as well. But I think AOYI, again, perfect correction. It went from 20 cents down to test my ultimate downside price target. And that's why on Friday, I wasn't surprised at all to see the bounce, but it was very gratifying and very validating knowing that it did correctly and almost to a T test my bottom side price targets, see a reversal, and that gives me reason to believe with all the fundamental momentum behind this company, behind this stock, that we do ultimately see it once again come up to test the overall line of resistance. This is a little more conservative. Again, of course, you could redirect this trend line a little more to use that touch point. I like to keep it a little more conservative, as you guys know. So again, my overall price target, say we hit it by March 1st, is going to be a 35-cent AOYI, just 30 cent, just to, again, keep it played a little on the safer side. But if we do happen to test this trend line on March 1st, that would take us to about a 35-cent AOYI. And it's crazy to think that we've been covering the stock since 2 cents, just like, what, a few weeks, a month ago or so. And it's come such a long way, and it's so exciting. And I love this chart, and I love just everything going on here. You're seeing the stochastic RSIs curl up on the 4-hour as well, which is always bullish from a technical perspective. And this chart just looks amazing to me. This is also kind of a two-wave. Again, you see this two-wave bull flaggy pattern. I see the parabolic move up. A lot of buys, a lot of attention on the stock, which is honestly the most kind of important thing from a trading perspective, is the amount of capital looking at the stock, just aware of the stock. Because AOYI only has a market cap of $14 million, which is tiny market cap, it takes very, very, very little. Like I've been saying this whole time, but I'll keep saying it because that's really a big, when I'm determining what trades I want to take on, especially if it's just a stock trade, not like an options trade, I always think about market cap. So very, very important to have a small market cap if you want that crazy like 10, 20, 100x potential on a stock play. And again, you guys always do your own research. I'm not guaranteeing anything here, and I'm not even completely convinced myself, but I'm convinced obviously enough with all the research, all the data that I've accumulated personally to take on this trade and be very, very bullish on this trade. So ultimate price target March 1st for AOYI. On Mars, this isn't even Mars. You guys know my ultimate price target for AOYI is $10. 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, whatever. I think AOYI can easily hit a $10 share price, which would only be $1 billion valuation, which is still tiny. Okay, so again, very exciting times here. I wouldn't be surprised at all if by next week almost we see maybe a 35-cent AOYI. So we will call it there, you guys. please let me know in the comment section down below which of these plays you're personally the most bullish on, what you're trading right now, if there's any stocks we didn't talk about that you're very excited about. Always love talking shop with you guys. Always love learning from you guys. And if you're still around and you're not subscribed, please subscribe, and give the video a like if you're here too, okay? So I will catch you downstairs in the comment section. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.